Day 4, reach out to 5 former leads. Everybody hates doing this, so I'm gonna make you do it. So hopefully what you've been doing over the course of the past year, and maybe not, which is okay, because I'll give you another option, is going out of your way to reach out to people who may want to train with you, or communicating with people who have reached out to you about training. Now, unless you are a wizard, and maybe some of you are, you probably don't close 100% of people that you're communicating with about training. Hopefully it's higher than 30, which is like the gym average. But if you're closing, let's say 80% of the people who reach out to you about training, what you can then do is find that 20% that you're not reaching out to or that didn't sign up for training and say, hey, hope you're having a great holiday season. Here's what I would like from you. I want you to tell me what your fitness goals are for the new year, and I would love to see if I can help. And that's it. Doesn't even have to be a sales pitch, right? You can just reach out and say, let me know if there's anything I can help you with, or if there's anything you need. Again, you can send a little holiday gift, whatever you want, but I would say reach out to people who you've communicated with previously about training, because that's, I think, the number one mistake people make is they have the potential clients in front of them, but then they don't do enough follow-up. I've had clients, and this is my favorite story that I just talk about endlessly. It's like one of the first clients I ever signed in the influencer space who I emailed like 53 times in a row. And then she eventually was like, oh, sorry, I got locked out of this email. And I'm like, that's professional. But anyways, she ended up opening the email, and my email was right at the top of this massive list of unread emails she had because I'd been emailing her so much. So again, you just never know why someone isn't or is, not ready to sign up for training. So I would say reach out to people who you've previously trained with or wanted to train with you, sorry.
And just to piggyback on that one, Dana, I think it's so important. I don't know what it is with people, probably not trainers, but people, the fear of getting the no, or I'm annoying or whatever. I'd much rather you have someone tell you that you're being annoying versus not doing it enough. And so I'm going to read a little something from this book, Go for No. It's a great little excerpt, but no doesn't mean never, it means not yet. Statistically, research shows that 44% of salespeople give up after one no, 22 more give up after the second, 14 more after the third, 12 after the fourth. What does that come to? 92%. 92% of salespeople give up without asking for the fifth sale. And I just I had a email today, and I reached out to this client who inquired in early September, for pricing for her boss. And every week I'll send an email. Just wanted to follow up, see how everything's going, if there's a time you'd like to come in here. And today, which was the 12th or 13th time, they responded and said, how can we schedule an appointment for Mr. Whoever? If I would have just been that average person and done one, there's no way that I would be in the opportunity to sign up a high-end client like we are today. So great one. Love it.
Huge, huge, huge. Most people don't want to get rejected, but if you're like me and you date a lot, people just constantly reject you and then you become numb to rejection. That's the secret. Okay, just kidding. So day 5, I would say batch 6 to 7 reels or TikTok. It's up to you guys what platform you're focusing on. Me, I've been doing a lot of stuff on TikTok lately, but again, there's plenty of opportunity to grow on both TikTok and reels. If I was doing a content challenge like this, I would probably focus on one more than the other, and maybe take more of like a repost strategy. So just take off the watermark and pop it on the other platform. It's not a perfect strategy, and usually I would say create dedicated content that's different for each platform. But in this case, I would say, since you're doing something, 30 days really trying to grow and get clients on one platform, I would say pick one, focus on that. Where did I just go? Oh, so I would batch 6 to 7 reels, TikToks, whatever it is that you're choosing to do. And what I mean by that is not make 6 of the laziest pieces of content I've ever seen in my life, but one of these days between day 1 and 4, right, where you're not filming content aside from this, sample testimonial explaining how you train, but you're not doing like a batching content day. I would sit down wherever you get your ideas, right? Maybe you stand up and go for a walk. Maybe it's while you're at the gym, but I have a running notes app list on my phone that's called what? TikTok ideas. And when I'm existing in the world, often when I'm on my walks and like out of my mind caffeinated, I get a lot of ideas. So I start writing down, what could I film for TikTok? Because guaranteed you will sit down to film for TikTok or Instagram and you will not have a single idea. I don't know how to explain it. It's honestly one of the great mysteries of the art universe. But any ideas that you had, if you don't write them down and then you sit down to go film, you won't remember. I don't know why that is. It's just a fact of life. So have that notes app on your phone so that when you go to batch 6 or 7 videos, you have a bunch of ideas written out and you know what you're going to film. I worked with, if you guys know Chelsea, Chelsea Rose, she did the Trainer Eyes tutorials that I think are on the app, I'm pretty sure. And we had a call, maybe like, I don't know, like end of summer, early middle of summer, talking about what she wanted to do for TikTok. And one of the big things we were talking about is that obviously she's hashtag booked and busy, and she doesn't necessarily want to film these like super elaborate, super complex videos. And a lot of her videos on the platform that have done well that we've discussed in terms of like content styles is just her getting ready, doing her makeup, getting ready to go somewhere, talking about training, right? In a very specific way. She talks a lot about like wedding, content and how to get in shape for your wedding and all that kind of stuff. And so it's not these crazy elaborate videos where she's filming like 8 exercises and going into detail about each. It's literally just her sitting, getting ready with like a few cuts, talking about, hey, if you're trying to get in shape for your wedding, here's what I would do. And it's really specific, right? Talking about being, a certain amount of days out from your wedding. That's a pretty niche target audience. And secondly, it's not a hard video to make, right? It's something she's already doing. She's already getting ready. Instead of FaceTiming a friend, record a TikTok. And I think that can be really helpful in terms of content. And the second thing is when you're batching content, it doesn't have to be this like crazy, overly complicated, super difficult thing. It can literally just be, okay, I know I have 2 hours free. Here are the 6 topics I want to talk about. In 3 of them, I'm going to do, a 3-minute video with some cuts explaining this or talking about a client story. And then the second 3, I'm going to just do trends, text on screen, bam. Shouldn't take you that long. And if it does, that's okay, because the more you do it, it gets way faster and it becomes way easier. I would say the number one problem, quote unquote, that people have with content, and realistically the reason it takes them so long, is because they're really uncomfortable on camera, which is obviously completely normal. If you've never done it before, you're going to feel getting weird. But getting comfortable on camera, and you got to remember, like, the worst thing that happens is somebody comments something mean about you, and like, who cares? Like, I know that's easier said than done, but like, you know what I mean? You look at it and you're like, all right, that's fine. This is my favorite hate comment I've ever got in my life. Someone told me I look like a human quagmire, and I had to Google quagmire, and I was like, oh, that's fucking mean. But I was like, whatever. Like, it's just someone being an idiot and they're having a bad day, and so they're shitting on me. And it's like, if that's the worst thing that ever happens to me, is someone calls me ugly on TikTok, like, I think I'll live, So you just gotta remember, like, the literal worst thing that could ever happen on TikTok is someone's like, I don't like you, and you go about your day. And I think that helps at least me. I don't know if that makes anyone feel better or worse, but to remember that, like, it can feel really high stakes when you're like putting yourself out there and talking on camera and recording all these videos, but ultimately, like, whatever. It's also part of the reason for me, and again, everyone's gonna have different opinions on this, but I started TikTok not for this reason, but it was a contributing factor that nobody that I knew in real life followed me on TikTok, and now obviously people I know follow me and I'll post about it. But when I started it, I was like, I just want a platform where I can like post and people I know in real life are like not watching and like thinking about me and like shitting on my stuff, And I did that, and it was really helpful because it got me in the habit of not considering what person I actually know in real life is going to watch my videos. And now when I post stuff on TikTok, I'm like, someone I know in real life is going to see this and whatever, But once you get into that headspace of like, it's not important, that I think can really help, especially if you're talking about your own fitness journey and you're feeling insecure that people in your life are going to watch it. Like, you got to just remember, like, it's the worst thing that happens is they go, this sucks, and then they move on with their day and you survive and get clients. That's my hot take there. But so anyways, batching reels, that was the monologue that I just got on. I'm a big fan of recording a bunch of things at once. Not everyone is. If you're the more of a daily kind of person, that's great. I just think it's really important to have a reserve of content. The way the platforms are now, if we were having this conversation like a year ago, I would have said you need to film like 20 videos over the course of a week and have everything good to go. The platforms change so fast right now that I don't necessarily think that's the best approach, which a year ago, again, would have made more sense. I think now I tend to lean towards have a bunch of pieces of content available so that if you don't have ideas or you can't film, you can post them, but also don't be afraid to like, hey, I just saw this trend on TikTok that looks really interesting. I'm just going to film it and post it. Like, you can also kind of do that in the moment stuff. So day 6, again, ask for a referral from a client. So testimonials are great, but what's even better? Referrals. Again, people don't like doing this. Why? Because they think their client is going to hate them, which they won't. The other thing is, how do you guys think most people ask for referrals?
Hey, can you give me some clients? I need help.
Good
And they
morning,
don't offer
Tyler.
any sort of, hey, good morning.
Exactly. Hey, can I have some clients? Do you know anyone who wants training? What do you guys think about that? If I went to Nicole, who I'm bullying this morning, and said, "Hey Nicole, I know you really like training with me. Do you have any friends who you think want training?" And Nicole goes, I'll think about it."
It's because I came late, right?
You're in the, for some reason you're like right next to me on my screen, like in the top. Oh, I guess because your camera's on.
Oh,
You and Ashley are like, so I'm like, all right, you're here. I'm gonna bother you guys. What do we think the problem is with me saying, "Hey Nicole, can I have a client? Do you know anyone?"
It's not really specific.
It's not
You're not
specific.
really targeting,
Mhm.
hey, we've been doing this thing, whatever it is. Like you're getting stronger, you're doing this. Do you have someone who might want to do the same thing you're doing with wanting to get stronger too, or wanting to lose weight or whatever it is?
Totally. Number one is paint a picture of what that person might look like, right? Because do you know anyone who wants to train could mean anything. Hey, I'm trying to pick up a few clients who are specifically looking to build some muscle. Do you happen to know any friends who are training for a triathlon or who are looking to put on muscle or whatever, like come up with something specific that they can keep in their mind. Because when they go to a holiday party and someone goes, "Oh yeah, I'm training for my first half marathon," they'll go, "Hey, actually my trainer was just saying she's looking for clients who are getting into running who also want to weight lift. I can introduce you guys." So again, it's like that is, you're going to pop in their mind as opposed to like this sort of generic, like, "Oh, do you know anyone who wants to train?" It's like, "Oh, not really." Second thing is there's no follow-up. I don't know about you guys. I got all this stuff going on, and it's not that I intentionally don't do what people ask, but sometimes I forget. And if I don't get a follow-up, sometimes I'm just not going to remember the thing that I was supposed to do, which is not great, right? But everybody does that, where someone's like, "Hey, could you do me this favor?" And you're like, "Oh my God, of course." And then you forget. And it's not because you don't want to do the favor, you just don't remember. So if you ask your clients for referrals, say, "Amazing. I don't want to bug you about it, but I'll just check in with you in like a week or two and see if you have anyone in mind." Totally fine. If not, again, you don't need to pressure them because they may not have anyone. But I'll just follow up with you so you don't forget. Set the expectation, because sometimes it can feel like, why is this person asking me for so much? If you in 2 weeks, like, "Do you have anyone for me?" They're like, "Oh, I totally forgot about it and didn't think about it again." But if you say, "Hey, in 2 weeks, I'll nudge you again," no worries. If not, just want to check in. That's an appropriate way to go about that. Then where am I? Okay. Day 7, post one of the reels that you batch recorded. Pretty self-explanatory, or TikTok. Day 8, reach out to 3 clients for testimonials. We're back. So you're going to send that sample testimonial video of yourself that you recorded and say, "Hey bestie, I know we trained earlier this year. Happy holidays. I need something." Just kidding. You're going to be nicer about it than that. But hey, I know we trained at the beginning of the year. I hope you had a great experience. I know you got a little stronger and whatever. Hope you're having a great holiday season. I'm doing some, collecting some testimonials. Here's an example of what I'm looking for. Let me know if that works, or we can hop on a Zoom call, right? Give them some options. And then where am I? I got lost. Am I on day 9? Yeah. 3-frame Instagram stories and a reel. I am a big proponent of, when you post content, to also post corresponding stories. So what I mean by that is, if you're posting a reel, it's basically just easy, like handed to you ideas to be like, "Hey, I just posted a reel about blah, blah, blah. And here's like one more detail on that," because it's pretty simple. And a lot of times people say, "Oh, well, what was the reel?" And they'll go look at it. Talking on your stories is important because it helps people feel like they know you. So again, people are very uncomfortable with this. I understand it's uncomfortable talking to people via a camera, but I have done this other challenge before where people talk on their stories every day for 30 days. If you've never done it, I would recommend potentially doing it alongside this, because by the end of the 30 days, you'll be like, "Oh my God, I don't care." And you'll just be posting as you're thinking about it. I also have a 3-take rule with stories for myself and for my clients. You can only record it 3 times. You have to post whatever the third one is, because otherwise you will say, "Oh, my hair looks weird in this one," or "My voice sounds weird. I'm going to re-record this. Oh, I don't like how I said that." And you will spend 5 hours doing something that should take 15 minutes maximum. So 3-take rule. And then day 10, reach out to 5 potential clients. So what I don't mean when I say potential clients is complete strangers on the internet who you've never spoken to before. That's totally fine. And that requires like a mass super wide cast net, like you would need to do 100 cold reach outs to maybe get 2 responses, which again, I have done, I've had clients do, and people have success with that, right? Not to say cold reach outs don't work, because they do. But if you've been doing all this, and if you've been talking about your training consistently throughout the year, ideally you have a few people who seem interested and like respond to you occasionally, and like maybe kind of seem like they could potentially be fascinated with what you do, but you just haven't had that conversation with them of like, hey, I'd love to sign you up for training. Like, what are you thinking? Have you thought about it? Is this something you'd be interested in? So take 5 of those people, again, could be less, could be more, depending on kind of what you've been doing, and reach out to them. And it doesn't have to be a hard sell. You can just say, hey, really appreciate that you commented on my post, or that you responded to my story about blah, 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 or that you asked so many questions in my comments. Like, love it, really appreciate it. I'm just wondering if you've like thought about training at all, or like what your plans are for the new year in terms of fitness. Open-ended question, doesn't need to be a hard sell. Sign up for my program, it's $90. But just a way to like open the conversation. I consider potential clients anyone you've touched base with ever about anything fitness related, who's not obviously like a trainer. So, and you know, you could still sign trainers, not to say you can't, but generally someone who's, you know, sort of just asking questions or curious. I personally don't tend to lean towards like strangers as complete strangers as potential clients, because if you've never had a conversation with someone, that's kind of a different thing to tackle. Again, doable, but when I say potential clients, I'm referring to sort of like warmer leads. So that's day 10. Day 11, post a testimonial on your feed. Hopefully at this point you have a testimonial from one of your clients. You're going to post it on Reels and you're going to caption it. I personally like to record something, or have a client, let's say, like record something and then have the video testimonial. So it could look something like this. Hey, I'm Danny, I'm a personal trainer in XYZ. Let's say you're in person, you know, in La Jolla, if you're training in person. My client, Mark, lost 50 pounds training with me this year. Here's what he has to say about it. And then you can do like a little picture-in-picture, doable on CapCut or iMovie, or also TikTok. You can green screen, and Instagram, you can green screen yourself onto the testimonial. I think it's helpful to have you in it for a second, because otherwise, like, this video of this person I don't know comes up on my feed, I'm going to keep scrolling. So edit the testimonial a little bit. If it's too long, cut it down, right? You also, another cool thing you can do on TikTok is interrupt them. So you could have your client say, hey, I'm Mark. I trained with Danny for 6 months, and I want to tell you about the experience I had. And you can pause it. And you can say, Mark and I trained together for 6 months. Originally, he went to one session and said he was never going to work out again, and here's how we fixed that. And then you jump in and say, Mark would say, originally, when I got to personal training, I saw that, you know, it was a free intro session. I did it, and I was like, wow, I hate working out. And then, you know, Danny texted me over and over again and pushed me to come back, and I came back, and then I signed up for training. And then you'd pause it and say, one of the things that's really important to me as a trainer is, you know, not giving up on people, and I never give up on my clients, and blah, right? So my point being, it doesn't have to be their testimonial all the way through on your feed. You can use, and literally just like the in-app editing functionalities of TikTok or Instagram, where you could green screen yourself on top of this video, then go back to full screen, record what you have to say, go back to the green screen of this person talking. So again, I don't want to say it's not complicated, because of course that's going to take a second to like learn how to use, but it's a fairly simple way to have it not just be this person's testimonial all the way through, if that makes sense. And it helps because, again, if I just like see a stranger talking about training on TikTok, I am going to keep scrolling. But if it's someone I follow or have seen before, and then you're kind of opening that conversation with like, hey, here's something you should know, that's a more interesting video to me. So when I say,
does it matter? I'm sorry, I have a
No,
question.
you're right. Yeah.
Does it matter what type of background you have if you're going to use the green screen feature?
Just a plain wall is good if you have it. They're really, really good about cutting out the whole background, but sometimes if you have something that like looks like it could be green potentially behind you, it'll come in. So like certain colors or certain shapes, like a really bright color will like sneak in there. So but once you move around, like you'll see, like if I film and I put the green screen feature behind me, you'll be able to see right away, oh, there's stuff coming in the background, I gotta move. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.